Hi folks, my name is Yo and I'm here to talk about open sourcing your code as a researcher. So first of all, why open source? The biggest argument to me is that it allows us to actually build on each other's shoulders rather than reinventing the wheel. But also very significantly, open source code is something that can be peer reviewed and examined as a scientific method in and of itself, as well as an output. So open source basically means putting your code online so that people can reuse and remix it, and licensing it using an OSI license so that people can reuse it, because unlicensed code, unfortunately, is not legal to reuse, even if it is online. So to do that, I would recommend going to choosealicense.com to walk through their guidance. You can also use tldrlegal.com to demystify some of the language around open source licensing and open source terms. But open source, using licenses is not the be all and end all of open source. If you want to make something that people are actually going to come and use and contribute to, you usually need to put a bit more into it. So my first recommendation for this would always be to actually dedicate genuine people time to it, because the more you put in, the more you get out. So for starters, when you're putting something online, make sure that you have a README file that just documents what your project is, how it's used, by whom it's used, how you can contribute to it, and how you can report when there are bugs or problems. Try to avoid jargon if you can, or at least actually expand it and link to things so that other people can look it up in their own time. If you include a roadmap that says, it's in early 2022 we'll do this, late 2022 we'll do that, that allows people to understand what your priorities and long-term plans are. And try to include a contributing.md file as well, so people know what steps they need to take if they want to start contributing. Use GitHub issues like sticky notes. Every time you think of something that needs to be done, just write it up there in a way that means that when you can come back to it, you can see what needs to be done, but so can other people as well, and they might volunteer to pick things up. Include a code of conduct, which will allow people to actually feel safe and to know what to do if any problems happen. And include a citation.cff file so that you can get credit for the work that you've been doing. And don't forget to include contact information. So if people need help or if they need advice, then they can come and visit your Slack channel or a lab email group or something like that. And I'll also say that contributing to open source is a good way to learn about how to run a good open source project yourself as well. Consider participating in Oktoberfest in October every year and getting a free t-shirt. Take on a Google Summer of Code student or intern, and they can work with you for 3 months on an open source project, or consider maybe an outreachy intern who can work on things including UX and design and docs, as well as just code. Finally, consider publishing your fantastic open source code in the Journal of Open Source Software. Get some credit for the work you've been doing. Thank you very much.